Hey, so it's December at the end of 2024, and I want to just give a little message for the close of this year and also as we go into this new year, 2025. Hi, my name is Abigail, here to normalize these conversations and education about death and dying so we die better at the end of life and also live a great life until we get there. So let's get into it today. So, 2024, if you're watching this, we can safely assume that you made it through 2024. Now, a couple big things in 2024. I did do a video on the holidays and how that can impact us specifically around the around loss of a loved one. And it's not just loss through death of a loved one, but loss through the ending of a relationship or the ending of a career or some other aspect in your life and your identity, because that still involves a lot of grief. So starting there first. And if you're in the States or a US citizen impacted at all by this, the United States did have a presidential election. And on this channel, we don't go into, politics other than how it maybe impacts hospice care and educating you, all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of a reprieve from that. I really want this to be a reprieve. And also we talk about serious things anyway. So why do we need to bring politics in if we're already talking about death? But I want to acknowledge the fact that for some people may be very happy, and then some people may also feel really defeated and concerned about certain things. So with all that and the fact that we're going into this new year, the ending of the holidays, there can be a little post-holiday blues, and that's totally normal. But there's also this, new year that's coming up. So first things first, while it's always so natural for us to want to just have something really positive to make out of all of this, the first place we always have to start with is just normalizing and acknowledging. So just acknowledging the suck, acknowledging when things are difficult and they're just not going the way you want them to. That's actually a really healthy step to first do. I know sometimes people really want to rush to just like, oh, I feel like I have to, they kind of put pressure on themselves to feel like they have to make the most out of the situation and look at it from the most positive aspect. And if you already naturally do that and that works for you, that's really, really wonderful. But when you're going through a hard time, if something is, met, it's not feeling well, it's really important to acknowledge what the heck is going on inside of you. I always see it as a form of self-rejection if you just don't even bother acknowledging what's going on with you. Now, of course, it's not healthy to also stay there for a prolonged period of time. You want to know how to really process the emotions so they move through you and you process them in a really healthy way, ideally with a licensed counselor or therapist, so that you continue to process emotions in a healthy way and really continue to live fully. So first, acknowledging just all of that. And that's always a really good, healthy step. And as we head into the new year, there's usually a lot of energy around, maybe, getting healthier or, starting these new goals. And it's really, really wonderful for you to take any time that recommits to yourself, especially your well-being, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, whatever it is in your environment. And that is a really, really good thing. But I want to remind you too, especially as you get more into January and you're worried that, oh, I'm kind of going off the wagon or I've started smoking again, whatever it is. I just want to remind you that New Year's Day doesn't just happen on New Year's Day, January 1st, at the beginning of the year. I really believe that you can have a New Year's moment or a new moment. And in that moment, whatever moment you decide, it doesn't have to be tomorrow, it doesn't have to be next month, you can decide to change, rediscover, recommit, or do nothing. And I do mean the do nothing part, I really do. Because I want you to realize how powerful we actually are in even just a moment of time. So yeah, maybe you started off the new year and it wasn't really as much as well as you started and as you'd like for it to be. And you're really wanting to recommit to yourself, to your health, to your well-being, whatever it is, you can decide literally just in the next moment. And that really is just how powerful that we can be in terms of just a moment. We can decide to maybe what we're doing doesn't actually look different. Maybe we go for a walk every morning, but maybe our intent behind it changes. Maybe we decide to go out for a walk and instead of plugging in our pods and listening to a podcast, which is always great, especially if you're learning or being entertained and enjoying yourself, but maybe you decide to be a little bit more intentional and decide to pay attention to the nature around you or whatever it is. So that in itself is already changing your life and how you're living. So I want to give you credit and really recognize that you have a lot of power. And I know certainly from personal experience, and I wouldn't doubt if maybe you're going through this or maybe have had moments where you feel like you're just either in a lull or you don't feel like you're advancing or being wherever you're supposed to be in life. And that is really normal. It's really, really healthy. It shows that we have a desire for more from ourselves. Know to always acknowledge where you're at and give yourself the credit for really taking time to just say, okay, this is what I'm feeling, allowing myself to feel whatever I need to feel, but then also recognizing that in the next moment, even though the circumstances maybe around you don't look like they're changing, how you approach them can actually do a lot in terms of how you continue to live your life. So while it may not look totally different in terms of what you're doing day to day, how you're doing it with the intention behind it, what you're doing from a long-term standpoint can really magnify what's to come. I really have a lot of belief in you. For what it's worth, I have a lot of belief in you. Even though I don't know you, I think the person on the other end of this can be a pretty spectacular person. I think pretty much everybody is, and we have so much potential, and we can decide to grab onto it or not. But I am definitely thinking about you. I know this new year is coming, but at any moment you can decide on a new moment and just decide to change things around if you want to. Even if the outside life that you're living doesn't change a lot, your internal environment, what you're creating, what you're cultivating inside of you as you continue to heal, and death has a lot to do with it, and has a lot to do with life, can really transform your life. So more to come in the year 2025. We'll continue to normalize these conversations and education about death and dying, so we die better at end of life and continue to live a life that is meaningful to us until we get there. I love you. I really hope that this close of this year is bringing you the meaning that you want, and that this next following year brings a lot of joy and happiness and whatever else that you want. You deserve it. Take care.